What's up, Spice Droppers? It's Charlie from Ferndale, and I'm here to tell you today that you do not need to wait for the holidays to get that ham bone to make this delicious soup. Now let's get cooking. First of all, I just want to go over a quick mise en place. I will have the complete recipe in the description, but when we start adding stuff, I just want us all to be kind of on the same page of what's going in there. So obviously split pea soup, I have 1 pound of green split peas. I'm gonna rinse these before I put them in as well. I have about 1 pound of bacon chopped up into little maybe 1/2-inch pieces. A full pound of ham hock, dump all of that in there as well. My mirepoix here, I have about 1 cup each of chopped onions, celery, and carrots. I did keep the onions separate because I'll be putting those in first. I have 3 cloves of garlic minced here, and I have 1 tablespoon each of oregano and thyme. We're gonna also use about 4 cups of chicken broth, 4 cups of water, and of course we have salt and pepper to taste. I will note I'm probably not gonna add salt until the end because there's so much salt in the ham hock and the bacon that I don't want to overpower it and then have to work backwards. Let's get over to the stove. So first thing we're gonna do, I got my pot heating up. Go ahead and throw some oil in the bottom there. I did not include that in the mise en place. And we're just gonna throw the bacon in and cook that down. So what we're doing with this bacon is we're really gonna cook it down. We really wanna brown it. And then we're gonna start adding the other stuff to this. Give it a few minutes, keep stirring occasionally, and we'll be back. All right, this bacon's been cooking for about 8 to 10 minutes. And we're getting to the point now where you can see through that grease we got some browning on the bottom of the pan. That is perfect. That's what we're looking for. I've stirred it occasionally, but now I'm going to go ahead and add the onion. Again, I said this was 1 cup. This ended up being about 1/2 of a large white onion. You can use yellow onion too. But we're going to mix that in, get those little translucitized. But we want all that flavor on the bottom to stay there, and then we're going to end up scraping that off in a few steps. While these onions are cooking, it's a good time to start rinsing those peas, because if you do it too early, they tend to clump together. Alright, those onions are translucitized. We got even more flavor stuck to the bottom of the pan there. Here's what I'm going to do. I got my 3 cloves of garlic. Just put those in, stir those in. As soon as we start smelling that garlic, which takes about 30 seconds, we're going to add in just a little bit of our chicken broth. So I can smell that garlic now, just going in a little bit. For this step, you could also use white wine, and we're going to deglaze the bottom there, which deglaze is a fancy French word for scraping. Alright, so now we're good to go. I'm going to go ahead and dump the rest of that 4 cups of chicken broth in there. Now I'm going to put my ham hock in there, get my celery and carrots dispersed around everything, get these split peas in, and you can see I just rinsed these off and they're already clumping together. But that's okay, because they will declump anyway. We got our thyme and our oregano. Just going to give that a little stir, mix everything up a little bit. And now I'm going to go in with my 4 cups of water. Now I've had this on high heat this entire time. It's still on high heat. We're going to bring this to a boil before we bring it down to a simmer. I did forget to put the pepper in, so I'm going to do that. And again, we're not putting salt in yet because we don't know how salty this ham hock and that bacon will make everything. But now that we're boiling, I'm just going to turn this down to a simmer, give that a nice stir, and we're going to keep this on simmer for about an hour covered up. Alright, so here we are. It's been simmering for an hour. Smells amazing. Let's give it a nice stir. And we're going to end up taking these ham hocks out. I believe there were 3 pieces in there. We're going to take these over to a cutting board and cut them up into small pieces to add back. Take the bones out. And you'll notice that this seems a little liquidy, which is fine because we're still on a simmer and we're going to let that keep simmering uncovered now while we cut this up. And if we need to, we can let it simmer for longer to thicken up a bit. So let's go over to the cutting board. Alright, so here we are. Just take these pieces out. Look at that bone already falling out. Perfect. And we're just going to cut this into chunks. Get it away from that bone. Yeah, if you don't get it all, it's perfectly fine. We've already gotten a ton of flavor from this into that soup anyway. And then basically what we do, we don't want too big of chunks in there, so kind of bite-sized little pieces, whatever you prefer. And I'll get the rest of that in a minute, but we're just going to take this and add it back to that soup. So again, we're still on the simmer. We got the ham hock here. Put all that back in. And you can see in the last few minutes, it's already thickened up a little bit. And we're just going to stir that in. I'm going to do a quick taste, don't waste. Now I am going to add some salt to it, but I'll tell you, if I was adding salt in the beginning, I would have added more than needed. So just a couple pinches here. A little more pepper. Give that a good stir again. And then we're going to let this simmer for about another 10 minutes until it's the consistency we want. Again, if it's too watery, just leave it on for longer than 10 minutes. Too thick, add a little more water to it and let that simmer to kind of get incorporated with everything. But then after that, we're ready to eat. And look at all that flavor in there. We got the carrots, celery, onions, all that ham hock and the bacon throughout. Oh, this is gonna be great. Have a little fresh parsley to put on top. If you don't have that, that's obviously okay. But now we're ready to go ahead and eat. Let's try this. That smokiness of that ham hock with that bacon. I mean, it's just as good, if not better, than using a ham hock. Bam, baby, we did it again, Spice Droppers. Peace and love. I love you.